Hello, guess who and guess what? I'm the Who. I'm Robbie Susan Chandler. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator from Quincy, Florida. I live right outside Tallahassee, Florida. And I hold classes in my home, so if you live in the area, I'd love for you to join me for a class sometime. I usually hold my classes on Sunday, Mondays, and Thursdays, and a Thursday evening class also. The Sunday and Monday classes are at 2 o'clock on Sunday and noon on Mondays. And Thursday I have noon and the 5 o'clock. So like I said, if you're in the area, come join me. So the what now is, what card are we going to make? Well, today we're going to make this beautiful card with the Sunrise Sailing Bundle. Now the card is a Z-fold, if you can see from the top here, and when it opens up, we have this beautiful sailboat ocean view. And when it sits up, you would see it like this, but from the top doesn't look like much. But this is the card. Now here's the back, and this is our new cloud cover ink, and the happy birthday is stamped in blueberry bushel. But let's look at the front again. Now when I made this card, I liked it like this, but the more I looked at it, I decided the water and the sky just all blended together, and so I've made some adjustments to the card we're going to make today in the video. I changed my background color. So let's get crafting. Let's take a look at it. Alright, our card base is basic white, and I like to use the thick, and this is 11 by 4 1/4, and I scored it at 5 1/2 and 2 3/4. So when you do that, when you fold it, you're going to fold it in, and then you're going to fold it back, just like that. So I'm going to go ahead and burnish these so I can use this after a while to make a card. So here is the Z-fold. So it opens this way. Now my advice is to go ahead and stamp your back before you put anything on it, because if you don't, you'll have issues. It won't stamp as nicely. And I used the sailboat from Sunrise Sailing and the cloud cover, and then just a happy birthday stamp that I had for the birthday wishes. So that's our card base. Now let's move on to some other pieces. The background piece is Balmy Blue, and it's 4 by 5 1/4. And then the two side pieces are 2 1/2 by 4 by 4, 2 1/2 by 4, and you'll need 2 of those. Now what I did to these pieces, let me just move these out of the way, and then boom, when I move this one, you're going to see what I did to it. So these pieces I put in this wonderful embossing folder called Sunrise Sailing. And it embosses the sailboat, water, the clouds, you can see them all here. And it's really a lovely embossing folder, but it also is a hybrid one, which means you can cut with it. So there's a die, sailboat die, that's going to fit in here that we're going to cut some sailboats with. And I can quickly, always make sure you put the cut side up. And when you feed it through your cutting machine, my advice is to feed it with the cut side up too. You could do it this way, but I find mine cuts better this way. So for this card, we're going to cut 2 of the boats, one out of brown. So when you lay your brown paper in and you fold it over and run it through, you get this beautifully embossed boat. So and we'll get to the boats in a minute, but I want to go ahead and show you since I had the embossing folder. And then I cut a white one. So you put it in and cut it. And the reason I did that, I wanted a brown boat and white sails. This is the only way I could figure out how to do it. So that's what this beautiful folder, embossing folder does. Now I'm going to keep it here for one, well okay, what I did with these pieces is I adhered them to the white. But if you kind of notice, the clouds are a little bit whiter. And on this one, you can tell even better. Now, there's 2 ways to do this. But today I'm going to use what I call the smear technique, where you just take, let me go back to these pieces. You take your piece like this, and you use your white, Whisper White. Make sure you've got your pad so when you drag it, it's not going to fall apart. So I just lay it on here and just drag it. And the more you drag it, now depending on how inky your pad is, you'll get more ink on it. But now let me hold it up and you can see the difference. This is a little bit whiter than that one. Let me go ahead and do this one too. Oops. About got that on me. So just drag it. So you could take a brush and just put a little ink on it, and then you could just kind of smear it around. This would be another way you could put some ink on it. And see how it's a little bit whiter here and more cloudy looking. So there's two ways to put your ink on your clouds. So I wanted to show you that little technique. Let me leave this open because I'm going to use it again. Let me move these out of the way. So the next piece we need, now that we've got our background pieces adhered, we're going to punch a sun. And I use the 2.5 circle punch, but you could use any circle size you wanted. And you could use a die cut instead of a punch. And this is actually Daffodil Delight. And I also took some Timid Tiger, one of our new colors, ink, and lightly, I'll do this side, just kind of, and when I say lightly, see how strong it is when you tap off. You just want to lightly bring some around the edges. And that kind of gives your sun a little more depth and dimension, so you have to be careful. I'm actually going to put that at the bottom. And then there's also some clouds on our card that are cut with dies from the set, and I'm just going to smear a little orange around them like the sun's reflecting on them, and I think that's plenty for those. Alright, so now that we have our sun here, let me move my clouds out of the way. I'm going to go ahead and adhere it right down here. And here's my little handy tool caddy. If you're interested in one of these, I sell these, and just email me at robbiesusan@rsvpcardsandcrafts.com. They're $22, which includes shipping. Now it's just the case, it's not the supplies in it, but it's just the caddy. So I've got a little glue here. This piece I'm going to adhere flat because so much of the other is raised. And let me figure out how far down I want to put this. I'm going to lay my water here, and we'll get to the water in just a second. Alright, there's that splotchy part. I'm going to put it low. So I want to put my sun a touch behind the water. So I think right there will work just fine. Now this piece that I just pulled in front of you is a 1 by 11 inch piece of Azure Afternoon. And it's scored at 5.5 and 2 3/4, and it's going to fold over this way, so it's going to go down on your card like that. So it's 1 by 11, 2 3/4, 5.5. Now what I did to this piece, I stamped it with the water. Now this is the water die, water stamp from Sunrise Sailing, and I used Azure Afternoon. And I just stamped it along here, and I guess you can see that. And then after I stamped it, I ran it through this embossing folder. Let me move my little die. So I just laid it so it was level here, ran it through, turned it around like this, and ran it through again. And you're asking, well, what did it look like after I did that? Well, this is what it does. See, look at all that texture. Isn't that great? Texture really makes a difference. And to add a little more something to it, I also drug my white ink across it. Gotta have a few little white caps when you're at the beach. In fact, I was just at the beach a couple of weeks ago. And we had some white caps, and we also had a lot of seaweed, which I don't like. Alright, so there we go. Now, doesn't that make a difference there? You've got a little more texture, a little more design there. So then I just adhered this by gluing this section, and put your glue along here, and then put your glue on this area, and glue that all the way to the ends, just like that. Okay, I actually have one of those done right here. And you'll notice I also have my birds. And there's a die for the little birds, and they cut 3 at a time. They're little teeny things, so they're a lot of fun to glue on, but there's the birds. So here's our base and our back. Now let's look at the sailboats. So I've already told you that I cut a white one and a brown one. Now there's small ones in the set. Let me bring the dies over to show you. There's this little one, and there's a smaller one. I'll lay them here so you can see them. So these are the three sizes of the sailboats, and they're all from the Sunrise Sailing dies there. And here are the cloud dies that we've already put a little something on. So I'll put those right there. And then here are the dies for those boats. It's this one and this one. Now the only thing I didn't like about the big boat is that these have, when you put the sails on them, you've got that little space in there. But this one they didn't do that. So I just took my scissors and I snipped that out. I wanted that section gone so that all of my boats would look alike. Now here's my boat, my white sails, and they're white. Also here's the little sails that go on the little brown boats. Now what I'm going to do with these, there is a stamp in the set right here that actually stamps the big sails. So I did that in red. And then I cut them apart because I really wanted a brown boat and white sails. So I cut them apart. I just glued them on top of the brown. So let me get the one that I cut the middle out. Here we go. Like this. This one and this one. So see, now you've got a brown boat, white sails. And I have one already put together here. In fact, we can put him on the boat. Now, when you put dimensionals on this one, he's going to hang over that fold, so you don't want dimensionals on this part. So see, it's going to hang over there. So I want this boat sailing right along into the sun. So I'm going to put it right there. Okay. Now the little ones, the stamp set doesn't match up. So I just laid my white sails down and just kind of guessed on stamping. I just wanted some color on them, so I just did a little stamping, and then I glued my sails. You just glue your sails right on the boat, and they will match up perfectly. You have to look for the straight edge. This one's twisted, so you have to look for the straight side to glue it down like that, and then you have one side that's free. Alright, so the big blue boat I put back here in the back by the sun. Let's put it down. You know, one thing I'm missing, I didn't put, let's do this first. And see here, my supplies right here in my little tool caddy. I didn't have to go running all over the place to find them. I keep my dimensionals and everything right there. So let's put our clouds down. Kind of forgot my, oh, you know what, my clouds are on my other card, but that's okay. Alright, here we go. I'm going to pop that right here, and then the big cloud, let's just pop it right in front of the sun. Do y'all find dimensional backings all over your house? I know I do, especially after I've had a class. They're just everywhere. Okay, so there's our cloud, and I'm just going to stick this just right back here. Let's see, I kind of want it at water level, but I want it a little bit behind the water, so let's just pop him there. And then we've got one more, a little boat, and we're going to put him up here on the water. There we go. He's going to sit right over here on the side. Just like that. Since this side's glued down, we don't have to worry about him. See, when this pops up, like that, we've got one boat back there and one up here. Whoops, dimensional backing. So there we go. How do you like that? Folds up, fits in the envelope beautifully. There's your sentiment, and then the person can open it up, and they have this lovely little sailboat they can look at. Okay, this is the one we just finished with the balmy blue background, but I wanted to bring in my original with the Azure Afternoon background. And this piece was Azure Afternoon, I don't know if I mentioned that. So you can see the two and determine which one. Let me do them this way. Determine which one you like best. If you like the balmy blue background with the darker water, or if you liked it all one color. I kind of decided that I liked the two colors so you could tell the water from the sky. So anyway, you know, several different ways you could do it. So please like my video and subscribe to my channel if you haven't. If you don't have a demonstrator, I'd love to be your demonstrator. I'd love to be your team leader. So until next time, happy crafting.